Welcome to the August 1st seed starting video, and this is the stuff that I'm going to be planting to transition my garden from summer into fall. So it's going to have a little bit more of the fall vegetables that you can grow through the winter. However, these are going to be in small batches just in case something goes wrong. I'm still going to be planting another batch of them in 3 weeks. So to start off, this is some cucurbits that I can then plant right now and not worry about too much because we still have plenty of time until frost. This one's called Dasher 2, and this is from the local nursery down here. It is a disease-resistant cultivar, so it performs relatively well down here in the south. I'm gonna place 2 seeds per cell, starting with 8, and I'm only layering these on top, and then I'm gonna go back over them, and I'm gonna sprinkle some moist soil over them so that way they get better germination rate. It's a lot better than just having to fight through a whole bunch of soil. However, since temperatures outside are in their favorable range, the germination should be relatively quick. We don't have to worry about doing the heat mats or indoor starting of any sorts because of all of that. So that is the upside. I have 2 tomato varieties that I'm not too sure which one I want to place. So I don't need to open this one then. I will put 2 of each in row A. This one's called Baby Boomer Hybrid. Hybrids do tend to be a bit more resistant, and these are 50 to 55 days to harvest from transplant. Considering we have about 100 days that are frost-free, this should leave me with a relatively okay window of time to grow some cherry baby tomatoes. Like I said, we're going in with 2 per cell to ensure each cell has germination. And that was 4. Okay, so that's the baby boomers on the bottom of row A, along with Dasher at the top of row A. Sorry, row 1, column 1. You can judge me all you want about the rows and columns, however, it is all covered up in dirt and relatively old. Okay, we're back. My phone let me know that I had a little bit too few gigabytes of storage left, so let's try and make the seed starting video quick. I was gonna rely on the magic of digital editing to get me to a few minutes, because I do love to dawdle when I do this, but now I am aware that I cannot do so. These root vegetables, can't do those. Too early for peas. Too late for these peppers. Save that for later. Uh-oh. And I'm just realizing that I have extra seed to put back into my seed starting journal. So here is something that is relatively awesome for me. This is called Purple Sicily, sorry. A vibrant Italian heirloom, beautiful, brilliant purple head, weighing 2 to 3 pounds, fine, sweet flavor, cooks to bright green. So early indoors or direct seed outdoors 6 to 8 weeks ahead of the last frost date. And again, in midsummer for fall harvest, prefers cool conditions. So this midsummer, I'm doing this towards the tail end of it because it is way too hot. However, this is still going to be growing in the shady part of my garden, unlike the purple broccoli, which is going to be putting on side shoots. This is what it's primarily known for. This one's also more heat tolerant varieties. So put these next to each other. Let's give it a trial run of just one seed per path. Oh no, there's enough seeds for me to try. Okay. That is a lot of seeds. I will tell you that right now. So let's do 2 per cell. Okay. And that's that. Started 2 cells with 2 per cell, and if everything goes well, those 2 will survive, and I'll start 2 more in about 4 weeks or a month. Now, like I showed you before, this is the purple burgundy broccoli from Botanical Interest, and it is a long-standing and heat-resistant variety. It is also frost tolerant, so 68 days to 75, and it produces mainly the side shoots that we're looking for to harvest from here. Of course, it does produce a main head, however, it is not exactly what you're going for on this variety. Of course, just like most purple vegetables, whenever you do cook it, just like bell pepper, broccoli, cauliflower, it will revert back to being its original color of white and green. That's just what happens whenever you cook with that exact anthocyanin. It just gets kind of cooked out. Not exactly too sure what happens with that one, but it degrades the. Okay, so here we go again. This time we are on a whole different recording platform because my phone keeps deciding that I no longer have enough storage to keep recording, and despite me having very limited storage to begin with. This is something that is not a brassica, so I will save this for later. This is Romanesco cauliflower. This takes 75 to 100 days, and it is frost tolerant, so it would survive through our winters. However, I want to get started with it. I think I'm only gonna start, oh, here we go. A couple of these seeds. So here we go. I dropped like 6 on me. So we'll just and we'll be doing only one cell tray of the Romanesco, that is cell C3 of Romanesco cauliflower. Everything after that is going to be more of the cabbage style brassicas, which is including the red acre. This is gonna be a giant hefty purple one, and I'm going to have to make sure that I'm keeping it covered. This is the Caraflax, and look at how weirdly shaped that is. That's gonna make for some interesting sauerkraut or kimchi, as well as the final variety. And this is something that is very hard to grow unless you start at the right time and keep the conditions perfect. This is called Long Island Brussels sprouts. Ooh, I said spinach. Yeah, so this is called Improved. Allegedly, this is gonna do a little bit better. Ooh. So let's get started with seeding the last little bit. We only have about 5 cell trays left, and anything after that, I'm just gonna put in some spice picks. Starting with the red acre cabbage, we're gonna take up the last little bit of the column 3. There's quite a few seeds of this, so I won't feel quite as bad succession sowing this, and I'm gonna drop about 3 per tray per cell. I'm gonna give this a little pet since it did try to run away from its cell already. Okay. This package sells up to 360 feet. Oh man, what are you doing to me, Botanical? Okay, so let's read the back of the Caraflax package. Say goodbye to the leftover cabbage in your fridge. It's only about 1.5 to 2 pounds fully grown. Caraflax is just the right size of a small household. Now a pointed head looks ornamental in any garden, and its leaves are tightly wrapped, protecting the tasty interior from weather and pests. Mild and sweet, this cabbage is delicious eaten raw, braised in your favorite broth, or caramelized in the oven. Inner organic coating improves seed visibility when sown, so that is what's going to be on the outside of it. And however, since this is a disease-resistant cultivar, and it is going to be more pest resistant, it is going to be more expensive. However, this is also a small cabbage. It's 75 days to maturity. That is roughly 2.5 months. So in 2.5 months here, it is still going to be, it's going to be September. And this is going to be the middle of October for me, but it's going to be closer to September still. I say all that because here in Louisiana, it is unbelievably hot during the summer. Any month, August, September, doesn't matter. Way too hot. Okay, so I put the caraflax in the column 4 at the very top, and I also put it in the one that is next to it. I did that because I have only one variety left, and that is the Long Island Improved Brussels sprouts. Everything that I am going to be starting after that is going to be the onions, and I believe I'm just going to keep sowing onions as well as brassicas for the next 4 weeks. So within the next 4 weeks, every 4 weeks I will keep succession sowing those, so that way September, October, November, and December keeps bringing me plenty and plenty of brassicas, just in case, as well as it possibly not working out too well due to the heat that we're currently having in August and September, as well as any user errors on my part, as well as obviously any chance of the weather being atrocious. That was quite, oh, there's 1 gram. That's going to be it, guys. Let me know if you guys want me to start more seeds for every season, and to keep y'all updated whenever I do. Hit the thumbs up and also subscribe if you guys want to see more content like this.